Hey there, welcome to Podmio. Satish Gair here from Dallas, Texas, and I want to welcome you over to our Podmio platform. Now, you have a couple of options. Now, if you're just starting out fresh, you're in good hands. Now, if you're moving from another platform, here's what you need to do, okay? You need to head over to your name right here. You need to go ahead and click on tutorials, and you need to go ahead and find this link that says moving to Podmio. This basically has instruction on how to move over to Podmio. It will take you less than 5 minutes, okay? So go ahead and follow that up if you're moving to Podmio. Now, if you're starting a new show, let's go ahead and get started. Now, keep in mind, Podmio has a lot of features, In this tutorial, I'm going to show you basic things to get started, okay? And after that, you need to go ahead and head over to our guides, our tutorial site, and actually take a look at what you need to do. You can pick and choose and pretty much follow through from here. Now let's get started. So you're on your dashboard. Initially your dashboard is going to look pretty boring and empty. Let's go ahead and change that. Now on Podmio, what we have something called folders. Now think of folders as your shows. So click on the plus sign and go ahead and enter your show name. So keep in mind you can always change it. I'm going to name mine Evil Salesman. That's my podcast name. Add a folder. Guess what? This is my podcast and I have it right here. With Podmio, you can have multiple shows. That's a really beauty about Podmio, okay? Now you have your show. Now the first thing I want you to do is click on this icon right here. Click on settings. Now that's your RSS feed, you're gonna need that, but right now at this point, since you don't have any episodes, it's pointless, right? Now what I need for you to do is focus on RSS tab and website tab. So all you need to do is click on the feed right here and try to fill this out as the best of your ability. For example, the name of your show, your author name. A lot of information has been pulled from your account already. But for example, the website URL, now it says your website URL here. Now what you need to do is enter your website if you have one. Now if you don't have a website, you can put in your blog link, you can put in your Facebook URL, but I'm assuming you have a website, go ahead and put that in right there, okay? You also need to make sure that you put some sort of description about your podcast. Now when people are trying to find a podcast on podcast application on Apple or Google or Spotify, they will take a look at the description, okay? They'll learn about what your podcast is really about, okay? Now your copyright information, your cover image. Now keep in mind that you need to upload something along this line. So 1400 by 1400 to 3000 by 3000 pixels. Now this is very important because Apple and Google will reject your podcast if it's not the right size, okay? Make sure to do that. Your feed language, your categories, your feed explicit, meaning does your podcast have any foul language, adult content? If yes, change it to yes, okay? If not, select no. Once you're done, make sure to click on the save button at the bottom. Now head over to website and make sure to enable the website and fill this out as the best of your ability, okay? You don't have to be perfect. Let's go ahead and click on the cross sign. Actually, go back here, website, enable website, save, okay? So you'll see your website link here, but let's go ahead and preview. As you can see, the website looks pretty empty because there are no episodes. Now, to add an episode, go to library first. Now we need to upload an MP3 file, okay? Let's go ahead and find the MP3 file. Find it on your computer wherever you have your MP3 file, and you need to go ahead and drag and drop it just like this. Okay, now at this point, this has been uploaded, okay? Let's go ahead and head over to episodes. Let's go ahead and click on create episode. Now my episode number 1, starting the sales business, okay? Whatever you want to go, name your podcast something that's, people can understand. Now the second thing is you need to click on select from library, and remember that podcast we uploaded, it's right here. Boom, boom, boom. Your episode URL, it's basically your specific link that you want people to check out for this episode, okay? Now, if you leave this blank, it's gonna be replaced with the link that's on your folder. That's your main website URL. Now, if you want to, go ahead and put in your blog, whatever you want, okay? And blog episode 1. Make sense? Now your description needs to be, what is this podcast about? So let's go ahead and put in, this podcast is a demo podcast. Whatever you want. Now, if you want to schedule this podcast, meaning if you want to publish it in future, you can do that. So January 1st, boom, boom, boom. And this podcast will only be published at this time, okay? Now, you also need to go and select a folder. Now, keep in mind, your folder is basically your show. Does that make sense? So this episode belongs to this show, Evil Salesman. Click on it, okay? Now the last thing we need to do is change this image. Now if you don't want to change it, you don't have to. But I recommend it because people do like to see some sort of image for each episode. You can go ahead and click on this little icon, and you can go ahead and find your image, and boom, you can add your image here. Now, if you're lazy like me, here's what you can do. Go to your name, click on account settings, upload an image, your default image right here. Now, what's going to happen is every single time you're trying to create an episode, it's going to load your default image by default, okay? Right here. Now, let's go ahead and click on update. And guess what? You have your episode 1 loaded on here. So your feed has it right here. Don't worry about that. Your website also has your episode. As you can see, it's being added, right? So it's very simple. Now, once you have your episodes, what's the next thing you need to do? Now, first thing I would do is actually start to submit your podcast on iTunes or Google Play and Spotify, okay? Now, we have actually created a really nifty guide. Go to tutorials and publication. Go to publish to iTunes. Now, just follow it. Now, step number 1, if you followed my direction, it's already done. Go to step number 2, just follow it. It should take you less than, 5 minutes. And same thing for Google Play, and same thing for Spotify. We're going to add more publication networks, and you'll always see them right here, okay? So you should do that first. Now, once that's being published, you also want to add your episodes on your WordPress site or your blog, whatever you have, right? Or your HTML site. Here's what you need to do. Go to episodes, click on the generate button. You can basically copy and paste this file pretty much anywhere. For example, if you want to paste it on your WordPress site, you can. Let's go ahead and show. Let me go and show you how to do that really quickly. So I'm logged into my WordPress. I'm going to go to pages or post, whatever you want, right? I'm going to go ahead and click on. I'm going to go ahead and put in episode 1 test, right? I'm going to go ahead and click on the text right here. I'm going to go head over to my website on my podcast episodes. I'm going to click generate, copy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on publish. And guess what? My episode has been published right here on my WordPress site.
Using this approach, Merrill Lynch.
Now, as you can see, you can actually go ahead and put in your player on your website. People can share it, people can download it, and all that good stuff. Now, keep in mind that whenever you make a change, you do not need to replace your code. Meaning, if I go back to my episode and click on edit, now let's say I want to collect some leads. You'll learn about that later. Click on update. Okay, I've added it. Let's go back to my page. Let's refresh it. And guess what? That's the subscribe button. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go to payment. Let's enable some payments. Let's make some money. episode 1. Let's go and refresh it one more time. And let's see. Now, as you can see, I enabled the payments and people can make payments. So you do not need to change the actual code. You just need to do the updates on your system right here in Podmio. Got it? So go ahead and, add more episodes. And if you want to, play with other features, for example, leads, broadcast, make sure to look at the tutorials because they go into detail for each of these things. Okay? And thank you.